Well, participant friends, we started to discuss about education and national development. We had only one class, particularly on this area, and in that class we discussed the introductory interpretations or explanations concerning to the role of education in the process of national development. Well, friends, this is second class on the specific unit, particularly education and national development. Under the contents of this unit or the classes will help you, the participant friends, to understand many things or many concepts relating to education, relating to sociology, relating to globalization, relating to commercialization of education, relating to privatization, relating to human resources, etc. So this class has specific importance for all categories of participants, and in all papers the knowledge of this class or the contents of this class will help you much. On today's specification of the classes, this is the unit area, education and national development. This is class number 2. This one is slide number 1. And today's class is on role of education as a social force. Friends, you are to study sociology, and sociology has the concern with the social happenings, with the events of human society, and in the process of social science, in the process of social reconstruction, the role of education is very much important. And here in this class we are to discuss all those in brief to some extent about the role of education as a social force. Friends, education, is a process of human resource development. This is also one of the definitions of education. And that's why the contents of this slide will help you to explain the meaning of education in a sense. You have studied the Gandhiji's concept of education or definition. At the time of defining education, Gandhi defined, and I like to quote before you so that you can get the chance to remember. Gandhi defined by education, I do mean an all-round bring out of the best inside in man, body, mind, and the spirit. So Gandhiji, at the time of explaining the concept of education or to define education, put importance, or he emphasized on 3 parameters of human personality, means the body, the mind, and the spirit. These are the 3 most important aspects of human personality, and with the help of the process of education we bring senses or we get the chance to bring senses towards our mental dimension, towards our spiritual dimension. At the same time we can get chance to develop all the physiological attributes or capabilities. And here you see the definition is given from practical standpoint, and that's why we have explained this way that education, when we discuss as a process, it is such a process with the help of which we can get the chance to develop human resources. Friends, you certainly know that education has 2 main aspects. One is, or 2 main parameters. One is process aspect of process parameter, and another is the product parameter. And product parameter is very much important, because whatever we get in the form of results in our life, in various sectors, maybe in cultural sector, maybe in social sector, maybe in political sector, maybe in economic sector, maybe in historical sector, maybe in environmental sector, whatever may be the sector, the products of education you see, do have special importance. And education is a process. It processes, the process of education processes human inborn potentialities to make everybody fit to become productive unit of human social life. And that's why here it is explained that education is a process of human resource development, and it helps to develop the inborn qualities, means the qualities or the potentialities which are genetically transmitted, or which are which are certainly transmitted with the help of the influence of the biological history of every individuals according to own needs and needs of social life. It makes men and women fit to take part in the process of production. Means, what does education do? If you put a question, then you will in return get the answer as education makes men and women, means us, means human individuals, fit to take part in the process of production, which is special importance, and the productive parameter of education specially puts importance on the specific aspect of education, on the process aspect specifically puts importance on the development of all human capabilities and qualities which are being genetically transmitted from one generation to the next generation as per the own needs of the human individual, as well as at the same time needs of human social life. Because negating social life or the demands or interests of the social life, we never can do anything else with the help of own individual capabilities. Let us see the next slide. We have to see it. See next. This way, or does education in other sense is a vital force, is a very important force, a potential force of the development of personalities and development of social life. It develops human personal capabilities or personality attributes. At the same time, it helps us to take part in the process of social sense. Education helps every nation. When we come to the context of nation and we try to explain the importance or the significance of education from national standpoint, and we find that education helps every nation to achieve the requisite or necessary development of national life. And here you have seen as a social force education. These are the people, means man basically makes society, and in turn society makes man. The process of making man, in the process of making man, the significance or the influence of society is very important, and in the process of social change or transformation, the roles of human individuals or citizens are very much important. And that's why it is regarded, it is discussed, or it is treated that education is one of the vital forces, one of the very important forces of national development. Let us see the next slide. It is, means education is a life force of a nation, because with the help of education, prosperity of life, prosperity of society, prosperity of culture, growth of economy, establishment of peace in social order, and preservation of socio-cultural heritage, and the continuity of life in an orderly manner, all these are possible. So friends, education is such a force with the help of which all parameters of life, all parameters of society, get the benefit. And here you see as a force, social force, what education, what roles education do play. You can understand by analyzing this specific photograph, which is symbolically which is as a symbol or symbolically placed here for your good understanding. Let us see the next slide. Democratic values. When we come to the concept of democracy, we see or we find the significance of education. And in your education paper, you are to write how the roles of education in democracy. Then you will see that democratic values are developed and spread in social life with the help of education. Education makes everybody fit to lead a life independently and helps to take active part in the process of social reconstruction and transformation for a democratic life in real sense, in real, real idea. Let us see the next slide. Education, what does again it do? Helps to make democracy fruitful and strong and successful. Democracy helps everybody to enjoy life with the spirit of strong fellow feeling. This is important for the existence of democracy, and we understand the specific significance of fellow feeling only with the help of education. Cooperation is another parameter of democratic life, and this spirit or the value of cooperation can be understood so much well only with the help of education. And the spirit of brotherhood has specific significance for the success of democratic social order. Education accelerates the process of national growth and development from all parameters, all sides, all aspects. Now you come to this portrait photograph, and here you have seen many hands, means many forces are, unified for greater senses or for great sense or great transformation. And it is education which basically helps us to understand the value of the united force in sensing democratic culture, in sensing democratic social order from all aspects, from all points of view. Let us see the next. This is again, education helps to produce proper human resources to meet the socio-cultural, political, economic etc. aspiration, requirements and obligation. Without economic independence, friends, and self-support, means individual support of the citizen, no nation can progress in a planned way, in a planned manner. And here you have seen this photograph. Here, human resources, how human resources help us or help in the process of social transformation. You can understand human resources, you see benefits of human resources. Recruitment parameter is linked with human resources. Skill parameter is linked with human resources. Training parameter has linked with human resources. Achievement of goals of a nation, it has linked with human resources. Development of social order as well as life order has close link with human resources. And the volume of talent or availability of talent, it has also close link with human resources. And education is the only means with the help of which human resources can be developed for the fulfillment of recruitment necessity, for helping people to become skilled human labor force, for development of talent, for development from all dimensions, for the achievement of goals of individual life, social life, national life, etc., or for imparting training as per the demand of change social needs, as per the demand of change social demands. And we have found how in planned way education helps to develop human resources, and with human resources the parameters which have close link we have seen here so much well, and we can understand that education is such a process with the help of which human resources of different or varied types can be developed for the fulfillment of various requirements or for the satisfaction of different demands of our social life, at the same time our individual life. Let us see the next slide. For this purpose, means for the development of human resources, or to help to develop or achieve the target of national development, that is to achieve economic prosperity. In a sense, there is the need of scientific planning, because without planning we never can achieve the target of economic prosperity. And for scientific planning and to achieve economic growth and establish peace in society, education is the only means, or education has the utmost necessity. And here, once we come to the parameter of scientific planning, this is the process of growth which has close link with scientific planning or economic prosperity, and with which education has very close or very intimate relationship. Let us see the next slide. In our country, once we come to India, the national leaders could realize this urgent necessity after independence of the country, for which the process was launched, means plan economy, we come to know so much well by the political leaders in 1951. We know about so much well about the planning commission. Economic planning is necessary to formulate and determine the requisite policies for the welfare of a nation. And the economic system, mixed economy, we know so much well. Capitalistic economy, here is the planning procedure is different. In mixed economy, planning procedure is different. Socialistic economy, planning procedure is different. Communist, you see, where there is communism or economy which depends or which is being determined by communism, there is also the planning procedure is different. Or pure competition economy, once we come to that parameter, we see the different differences in planning procedure. And these are the names of the country where mixed economy, France and Sweden, where we find mixed economy. Capitalistic economy, once we come to capitalistic economy, we come to know about the United States of America, and then for Japan also. Socialistic economy, the former USSR, and communistic economy which has link with communism or communist economy, China. And in case of India is a democracy, and here the spirit of mixed economy is certainly there. And for the development of the economy of the country, the prime roles are being played by education, and it helps us to understand the specific significance of plan economy or planning procedure. And sense grants uses sense in grand scale in the sector of education for the sense in grand scale in the sector of economy. Let us see the next slide. Above all, means the discussions which have already been made, without proper development of human resources, it is very difficult to execute the planned policies. Without skilled manpower, nothing can be achieved, and with which education has close link. In this context, means concerning to skilled manpower, you see, we may cite the explanations of the great expert B.B. Tandon, and Tandon explained many things about skilled manpower on link of the process of education in skilling human resources. And here the gap is skill, the gap we have seen in our country on different problems which we do notice or which we do encounter in our social life because of the lack of skilled manpower. We have education, but we do not have skill, and because of this we do not have, you see, very speedy or rapid economic transformation, and because of which we do have many social problems. Let us see the next slide. In the words of Tandon, because concerning to skill manpower, Tandon has explained, whereas economic planning become an essential part of developing policies, it is only now coming to be realized that planned development of human resources, which is linked with the system of education, is needed on that highest level of economic development in a country is possible only when properly trained manpower is available according to the technological needs of the country. And let us see the next one. Manpower planning is intimately, as per the explanations of Tandon, connected with economic planning, and with economic planning, education has close connectivity which determines its objectives, and with educational planning which help to shape its methods. How educational planning helps us, you have seen here. Each of these three fields was formerly regarded as separated, but now there is a wide measure of cooperation between economists, manpower experts, and educationists, and that is why there is, in the field of education, integrated education has become much more important because of this. You see, in order to arrive at a broad approach to the question of development. So friends, once we discuss education as a social force, we see so many things, and by discussing education as a social force, we can come to know or understand about the role of education, the definition of education, the social significance of education, the economic significance of education, the significance of education from all parameters which are existing in human society, we can understand much well. Let us see the last slide. Here you see role of education as an essence social force, means with each of the factors or each of the aspects, each of the parameters, maybe culture, maybe religion, maybe economy, maybe maybe economy, maybe democracy, whatever it may be, all have interconnectivity, and with the help of a big force, great changes take place, or great changes result, and that's why education is one of the strongest social forces with the help of which we can help society achieve targeted goal of development, as well as holistic transformation can be achieved only with the help of education, which is one of the strongest means for the development of all required human resources. So friends, this much for today. The other part relating to education, role of education as a social force, this left part is to be discussed in later stage, because in a class, the contents of this class or of this unit is very extensive, and that's why for your benefit, step by step, class by class, all contents are to be discussed so much well, and by you see studying this unit so much well, your concept concerning to education, your concept concerning to human resources, your concept concerning to globalization, your concept concerning to commercialization of education, your concept concerning to economic planning, your concept concerning to manpower planning, your concept concerning to the interconnectivity of economic planning, manpower planning, and educational planning will be much clear, and the discussions of this unit will help you much to understand the recent concept of education very well. Thank you so much for today.